In 1804, Serbs began a war for independence. Led by brilliant commanders, they won victory after victory, beating odds of 4-1, using everything from guerrilla warfare to frontal warfare, adapting to events in the most unstable time for Europe, and turning it into a major regional conflict and the eventual collapse of the Ottoman Sultanate. 1805. More than 1 year has passed since the start of the uprising. The Serbs are faced with a hard decision. The Sultan wants them to lay down their arms. If they agree, the uprising will end as quickly as it began. They met at Pečani, near Belgrade. All chiefs, all of the clergy, and all dignified among the people are present. They have a lot to discuss. First came the news from St. Petersburg, the capital of Russia at the time. The Russian emperor has decided to take the Serbs under his protection. They also prepared demands and delegates for Constantinople. Furthermore, they decided that taxes and all money collected be given to Ottomans to try and avoid open conflict. Karađorđe, however, was frustrated by this. Is it right that this much money be given over to Turks so they could beat us better? Or is it better for us to use this kind of money to buy ammunition so that we can beat the Turks? However, this assembly did not go entirely peacefully. Teodosije Maričević, who first was chosen to lead the uprising, but declined believing it won't succeed, now demanded that Karađorđe give leadership over to him. The situation escalated. Teodosije drew his pistol to shoot Karađorđe, who also drew his pistol and shot Teodosije first, killing him instantly. The rebels took Čačak, Užice, and Kraljevo as leverage so their demands be taken seriously. At Čačak, the Serbs positioned themselves across the Morava River. The Turks in the city had attacked the rebels as they had 3 times more troops. At first, they were successful, but the rebels got 300 cavalry reinforcements, which proved decisive. Many Ottoman soldiers drowned in the river while attempting to escape. After this, they all fled to other towns. In Kraljevo, back then called Karanovac, the Janissaries numbered 2,000 and were raiding surrounding villages and churches. Because of this, Karađorđe was infuriated and prepared a strong and large army, possibly 6,000, out of which 1,000 were cavalry. They attacked and killed the Janissary commander, after which they entered the town and burned it to the ground, around 600 houses in all. And finally, in Užice, the Ottomans retreated to their fortress, preparing for a siege, but seeing that the entire town was in flames, they surrendered. However, the Ottoman Sultan, Selim III, did not take this lightly. He knows that if he gives Serbs their demands, other parts of the Ottoman Empire might rise up as well. And if he lets the uprising continue, Russia could enter the war, and Serbs outside the Sanjak of Smederevo could rise up. Because of this, he appoints the Ottoman governor of Niš to lead an army into Serbia and crush the rebellion. He raises a huge army, possibly more than all troops Serbs have faced so far. But the Serbian army is preparing as well. They built a strong defensive position at Ivankovac, near Ćuprija. It was prepared with 2 redoubts and 3 earth and palisade fortresses. It was garrisoned by some 2,500 troops, which is only a quarter of the entire Serbian army. The rest are with Karađorđe, who is protecting the second route to Belgrade. The Ottomans, however, have no cannons to use against these fortifications. They attempt to bribe Milenko Stojković, who was put as commander of Ivankovac, but Milenko refuses the bribe. This meant the Turks had no other option but to attack. They attacked the Serbs from 2 sides. The Serbian position was very strong. Their right flank is protected by a river, and left flank by mountains and thick forests to the south. However, the Turks soon take the southern redoubt and continue onwards towards the inner redoubt, while the rest of the army fights for the smaller palisade fortress and pushes the Serbs back. Soon, the majority of the Serbian army finds itself in the main palisade fortress, and the second redoubt follows as well. The Janissaries attack Serbs many times, but they failed to break the will of Serbs. And then finally, Karađorđe arrives with the majority of the army, and Turks begin to retreat. They go back to Paraćin to regroup. However, after multiple more battles and attempts, the Ottoman army begins an orderly withdrawal. The Serbs won a great victory, and now they begin to form their own government. They call it Praviteljstvujući Soviet Srpski. Some of the commanders realized this could be a good opposition to Karađorđe. The Soviet was given executive and legislative power. It was formed out of 12 representatives, one for each region called a nahia. The roles of 6 ministers were also suggested, but they were implemented in 1811, 6 years later. The first president of the Soviet would be Mateja Nenadović. After the battle, the Ottoman Sultan was enraged. He declared jihad on the Serbs and prepared a new offensive. 40,000 in Bosnia under Sulejman Pasha Skopjak, and a new army in Niš with 50,000. Nevertheless, the Serbs are ready. They gather even more troops and prepare for their most brilliant victory yet, the Battle of Mišar.